Are they lucky that they don't have to qualify?
Well, a little bit. I mean, they'd probably be in a group where it doesn't matter if they play badly, they'd still qualify anyway because they'd be seeded, wouldn't they? But the irony is with this squad is that they've got a hell of a lot of good players. So they must be close to getting it right because you can't have that many good players and keep getting bad results.
Do you think that there is a possibility that the German FA might lose patience with Hansi Flick and end up trying to turn their attention to someone like Jurgen Klopp? I
think it would be a shock, wouldn't it, to do it now? But possibly. I don't think Klopp would go. He seems to have great hunger and desire to get this rebuild right and get Liverpool competitive again. From what he says, the energy coming from him, the excitement. And the Germany job will be there in years to come. I mean, he's not old, is he? So, no, I think they'll stick with him at the Euros. Germany might surprise you in the Euros with the home crowd behind them. They have got some terrific players. And actually, in the World Cup, they were unlucky. Really unlucky. I know you can only be unlucky for so long. But no, I'd be surprised.
As far as Jurgen Klopp is concerned, as far as domestic football is concerned, international football management is no longer the pinnacle, it seems. Is that fair?
I think so. I mean, you're seeing managers of a much younger ilk going into international football than you previously saw. I mean, the trend tended to be slightly older managers took international jobs. Obviously, there were exceptions to that rule, with Beckenbauer taking it slightly earlier than perhaps that my analysis details. But it's a very different job, and it requires a very different skill set and a very different outlook. And I don't see at this stage that Jurgen Klopp would want to be in that territory, because I think he's got a Liverpool side to rebuild, which I think he'll want to do as a matter of course, because he won't like the image that he's currently seeing back in the mirror of the side that he's created that's fallen away this season. I think he'll want to rebuild it. I also think the nature of his personality and the drive that he has doesn't yet suit a national side, albeit it'll be interesting because the Germans are in decline. I wouldn't put my money on the Germans being a spent force in the European Championships, because they have the innate ability to be able to recover from significant adversity, almost hit the rock bottom and then build themselves back up relatively quickly. Clearly something isn't quite right with the Germans. We saw it in the World Cup. Whilst they might have been unlucky, they were also not great either. And there was I can remember sitting in a restaurant in Qatar with Khalafi and their group, and everyone in the restaurant cheering when the Germans got knocked out for some particular reason. But notwithstanding that, again, the Germans, in my view, will be a force. They will be a force in the European Championship.
I think the other thing to take into consideration, listening to a couple of German experts over the last week who know more than me because they watch all the games, but apparently he's tweaking a hell of a lot. And he's trying a lot of different players, which, when you don't have to qualify, is actually...
I suppose it's a luxurious position from which you can
So it's sometimes with friendly losses, and if he's tried a few youngsters or different formations and he's tweaking and trying to find what's going to work for next summer, then you have to look at the bigger picture sometimes. But it's certainly not... I mean, their record in, the last dozen games is awful, isn't it?
What you don't want, what he doesn't really want, is to lose home games to build up a degree of either vitriol or apathy towards his management.
Which is why the booing was quite significant.
Yeah, and the German media will turn and keep on turning and keep on having a go at him, because they're no different to the media over here. He caught some shrapnel after the World Cup, and rightly so.
Well, the media is really positive, Simon.
All the time. Well, if you're in the Henry Winter School of Media, yes, which everything's saccharine and sentimental and everyone's lovely, but in the real world, it's not.
Jim White and Simon Jordan. Monday to Friday mornings from 10 on AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.